Ahoy and welcome! So this coming week was going to be the week that I was picking up the boat from the yard and bringing her back home to her home berth. Well, that was the plan, but plans change. Stick with me and I'll tell you all about it. So you might notice I'm still at the beach, and this was going to be the week that I was planning to pick up the boat. However, as you know, there's been a kind of few phases, I guess, in the yard. The first phase has been to raise the roof, so that's a lot of structural work, and it's overrun because of the complexity of the task. The yard have pulled it in, they pulled it in really within the time, but it's costing a bit more money, but they've done an incredible job. So I'm not displeased with that. The second phase of the work, the second main phase of the work really, was to get the hull pressure jetted, ultra high pressure jetted, and to get the bitumen off that, and to replace that with 2-pack epoxy paint. And the benefit of that is that the bitumen lasts sort of 5 to 7 years and then has to be redone, and it's quite expensive to get that done, and also you need to be out of the water and everything. So instead I went for the epoxy paint, which could last 25 years. It could last considerably longer, so that's a much better option. So the boat was surveyed about 3 years ago, and they found a little bit of kind of a few issues that were solved, a little bit of a problem. But then, of course, the bitumen wasn't taken off the hull last time, so we've only taken the bitumen off the hull completely now. So I took the opportunity to get a full survey, hull survey done, and they, of course, when you look, you find problems. But the problems aren't too bad. There is a few areas of the hull that haven't been overplated over the years, and in there's some pitting down to about 3 millimeters. So that's obviously a little bit of an issue, because 3 millimeters isn't much for a hull. So the solution to that is to get it overplated, to get it repaired, and to get it repaired properly. It's potentially I could get it patched. However, I want the hull to last, and I want the epoxy paint to last, and I don't want to have to come out of the water and do it all again, because, well, quite frankly, I couldn't afford to do it again, not for a long time. So the cost has just gone up considerably. So I'm kind of dealing with that at the moment. It's a bit nervy, a bit stressful, but we just got to do it, and I've just got to find the money. The choice is don't do it and don't have a boat that can sail, So we have to do it. So that's the issue now. So that means that this week I was going to be collecting the boat. That's not happening anymore. But the next time we can get out of the yard and back onto my berth is at the spring tide, the next spring tide. However, the next spring tide is really low. So it's actually not enough water to leave the yard and to get back onto my mooring, because they both need high tide. Usually you can use a higher tide to give you a bit of leeway, i.e. it allows you to leave a bit earlier, and it allows you to arrive a bit later. But that's not possible this time. So I've got a bit of an issue, but with looking at a few tide tables and the various heights of places, I think I've got a plan which will involve me leaving on the spring tides at the beginning of July. Well, I say the beginning, it was around about the 10th, and that would allow me to get off the berth in the yard. However, it's not high enough to take me back into my own berth, my home berth. So I'm going to have to moor up nearby overnight, and then so the first tide I'll leave the yard, and then the second tide, the second set of springs, I'll sneak back onto my berth with just enough water. So that's the plan. I guess the only issue is that if the tide is actually lower than we expect, which sometimes happens with the Thames barrier being closed, then I might not be able to get out of the yard. In that case, I'm going to, instead of leaving the tide around about 5 p.m, I'm going to have to leave in the tide around about 5 a.m, which is okay. But it means it's quite a long day, because then 5 a.m. I'll need to leave the yard, and then around about 4 or 5 p.m. I'll have to leave the temporary berth. So that's the plan. I've just got to pay all the bills first, and then get back to the marina, and then the slow work starts. That's okay, and I'm quite keen to show you that work as well, because I appreciate that there's not much I can show you at the moment. So we've been having a look at the kind of different things I've been doing, but there's not much I could show you tangible. I have been doing lots of other prep and lots of woodwork and kind of prepping with the tools and everything, so we're good to go with that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you more of the actual refit, but we can only start the refit when we get the boat back, so that's the next thing. I guess then we've got another couple of weeks to wait until we can leave the yard, and yeah, we can only do what we can do, and as they say, it is what it is, and the end result will be amazing. The end result will be a lot better, but the current situation is pretty tough and pretty stressful, and I'll be glad when it's over. Anyway, that's the biggest news from the yard. So we're going to get on with another few jobs this week, and yeah, that's all we can do really. But thanks very much for all of your support. It makes it really worthwhile me doing these when people give me feedback, and if you subscribe, that means a lot to me as well. That would really help me out. And yeah, well, let's go on with some jobs this week then. So that was the unenviable task of taking the mast down, lubricating the rollers and putting it up again. God, it's a hard job. It's really hard to do by yourself. It's quite easy to do when there's more than one, but it's really hard. Just need to undo one of the shrouds and it effectively falls over. And then when you're ready to put it back up again, step it, then you've got to lift it up. So balance it, and then connect that shroud while it's all still wanting to fall over. So it's quite hard work, and I've pulled my muscles, I think. Anyway, I'm going to stop whinging because yeah, I'm going to get the mainsail up today, and yeah, that'll be good goal. So that's it for this week, and hopefully next week I'll have some slightly more positive news to tell you. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you before I go to Gary and Sarah from Studio 68 Designs, who have made me this. How incredible is that? It's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put a link to their site, their Instagram, in the description below. So make sure you go and check them out if you want that kind of sign writing and amazing art commissions. They're incredible. So Sarah, Gary, thank you. That's going to be pride of place on board just as soon as I fit her out. See you next week.